much. Thank you very much. Once
Hari
again,
Bol, Hare Krishna.
thank you, Bhakti and Rosalind, for giving us amazing kirtan.
Hare Krishna, dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. My reverence. Thank you.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol. So today it's an important day. We are concluding the Bhagavad Gita today. Actually, it's going to be the most difficult chapter to explain because it's huge. It's very long. It's 78 verses. And actually, the Bhagavad Gita is already finished. The Bhagavad Gita is 17 chapter, and the 18 is just a recapitulation or a summary. The Bhagavad Gita, the whole Bhagavad Gita. So today we are going to speak about things that we already spoke in the 17 the other 17 classes that we had. It's going to be easy to say everything in 1 hour or so, and we are going to try. So the last weeks, what we did, since the chapters were very short, it was like 20, 25 verses. So it was nice to read all of them. But today we cannot, unless you want to divide this 18 chapter in 2 or 3 classes. But I say that it's not necessary. It would be nice, actually, but it's not so necessary, because all the topics we are going to discuss today, we already discussed them. So what we are going to talk about today? Well, I did some research, and I pointed out a few things, and let's see what we are going to be able to do in 1 hour. So first of all, we are going to talk about Tyaga and Sannyasa. Tyaga means renunciation, and Sannyasa means also renunciation, but a different type of renunciation. Then we are going to discuss the 5 kinds of causes for action, then 3 constituents of action, 3 types of knowledge, 3 types of action, 3 types of performance, etc., 3 types of happiness. And at the end, we are going to discuss the ultimate goal of spiritual life, which is devotion. This is very important to outline, that everything we teach and everything we do bring us all to the point that the spiritual life means devotion to Krishna. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. All religions actually should teach about these principles. Not always they do, and when they do, it's not very clear. But in Bhagavad Gita, everything is crystal clear. It's so clear that everything we do is to develop appreciation, attraction, love for Krishna. Is to love someone, you have to know him. How can you love somebody you don't know? It's like I tell you, love this woman, love this man, and the first thing you ask me, okay, so let me know her, let me know him, let me see if I like him. So this is knowledge. So first of all, we have to know Krishna, and then of course we'll have all opportunity to develop love for him. So in the first verse of the Bhagavad Gita, the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna asks, it's very important, not all, but most of the Vedic scriptures are based on questions and answers. good answers depends on good questions. Not only because the topics or the questions should be good, but also because the inspiration. When you get nice questions, then okay. Okay, so but it's a question of inspiration, because as you will see later in the Bhagavad Gita, I'm going to explain this point. And so I'm not going to touch it again during this hour. We should not teach Bhagavad Gita to somebody who does not want to learn. You can. Okay, all of us at the beginning didn't really want to. We didn't know what Bhagavad Gita was. We didn't know who Krishna was. But there are some persons who evidently are not interested. They're actually against the principle or the existence of the Supreme Personality of God, the transcendental knowledge. They're envious of those who teach. So we are going to also to touch the topic of one question that I received in our WhatsApp group. And as maybe you have perceived, I was a little upset. So my answer was a little strong in one sense. Maybe it was perceived, but I was. And I'm going to explain why. So Krishna says, I will teach you, or I taught you, since we are at the end of the Bhagavad Gita, I taught you this Bhagavad Gita because you are my friend, because you are not envious. Otherwise, to an envious person, the Bhagavad Gita would not be the same. So I have the service to give classes, and you have the service to make nice questions. It's not that you come and, with the popcorn and you just watch a movie, and I have to do all the work and you don't do anything. You should also work, and your work consists in being attentive and then make questions. Those who does not make questions, I don't want to get in anyone's case. It's just a general principle, okay? It's because they do not understood anything, or they understood everything. Or maybe they're just shy, just like when I met my spiritual master and I stayed with him for 1 week, Srila Prabhupada. I never made a question to him because I was shy. But I had a lot of questions. It was just that I saw him so important. It was like talking to a deity, and I was very, very shy. You should not be shy, and you should make questions. So Arjuna is making these very nice questions, and he's asking, what is Tyaga? The purpose of renunciation. And then what is sannyasa? The renounced order of life. Okay. Then Krishna answers that giving up activities which are based on material desire, this is sannyasa. Sannyasa does not mean necessarily the order of sannyasa that we take. We have in our movement a number of sannyasi. Sannyasi is someone who takes sannyasa. Sannyasa is the order, and sannyasi is one who takes the order. And everybody can be a sannyasi, simply by following Krishna's instruction here to give up the activities which are based on material desires. Of course, if someone has a family and a house, almost always it's because there are some material desires. Otherwise, what's the point of complicating life with a family? But this is not a general principle that applies for everybody. So much so that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, who was a very strict sannyasi, said he was ready to have sexual desires 1,000 times if he would procreate 1,000 1,000 children. So there is a way, and we in our movement teach our Grihastha devotees how to be sannyasa at home. So the difference between sannyasa and tyaga, Krishna says, giving up the results of all activities, is what the wise call renunciation. So sannyasa is I don't do things because I like it, but I do it because it is a duty. This duty can be a different kind of duty, but I will do it. Today I don't like to chant my rounds, I'm going to chant my rounds. This is sannyasa. Sannyasa means doing what is right and not what I like, and giving up the results of activities. Once I chant my rounds, just to make an example, I could have made any other example, giving up the results of activities, this is tyaga. And what it means to giving up the results of activities. You don't chant because you know that by chanting Hare Krishna, you may get some type of blessing, you know, but you chant for spiritual advancement. You chant because Krishna is happy. So why should Krishna be happy if you chant Hare Krishna? Well, because he told you, this is the way that you can develop love for me. And he's happy, not that you are saying Hare Krishna, but he's happy of the fact that you are accepting his instruction and you are trying to purify your existence. This is a kind of love. Of course, it's not a very elevated or very advanced type of love, but it's love, because otherwise you won't do it. And so here Krishna goes on and on saying what is renunciation and what is different types of giving up the results. For instance, even if you are not a pure devotee, and therefore you do things because you have a personal interest. You are chanting Hare Krishna, you're going to the temple because you will advance in spiritual life. So it's not a pure, you don't do it because you love Krishna. You mainly do it because you know you are going to advance. So it's a kind of selfish desire. Still, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that this kind of activities should not be given up. In other words, if you realize I go to the temple or chant or study anything, we have so many different types of disciplines in our spiritual life, and you realize that you are doing it for yourself. That somebody can say, no, I'm not going to do it because it's for me. I don't love Krishna, then I will not do it. This is not good. Sri Krishna and Srila Prabhupada in his purpose say very clearly that acts of sacrifice, charity, penance are not to be given up. They must be performed. Why? Because sacrifice, charity, penance, here is referring to something else, but can be applied to our life, that these activities will purify you, even if there is some selfish desire, even if there's a big selfish desire, and you don't really care about loving Krishna yet, you don't know who Krishna is, you don't have in mind exactly this sentiment that you find in our scripture, but you have some desire to advance in spiritual life. So this is the way of advancing spiritual life. Doing doesn't matter what is your motive. Just like one big ad, I don't remember who, there was one publicity who said, just do it, just do it. But just do it. Just chant, just do this, just do that. Doesn't matter if you like it or not. Okay. Prescribed duty should never be renounced. So what is a prescribed duty? Prescribed duty is what your spiritual master tells you to do. So what about means the service? One should take a spiritual master and ask him, what should I do? And then he tells you what to do and you do it. This is your prescribed duty. Just like Krishna was telling Arjuna, fight. Arjuna said, no, I will not fight because this is not good. But Krishna said, no, you should fight. And because the guru says fight, you should fight. So anything the spiritual master tells you to do, you do it. If you give up your prescribed duty because of illusion, because you don't want to do it, because it's too heavy, it's too difficult, then such a renunciation is said to be in the mode of ignorance. So let's say that one doesn't have a spiritual master. Let's say that someone doesn't feel to be guided by a spiritual master. So what is the prescribed duties? The prescribed duties are those duties which are explained in a scripture in a general sense. No? There are instructions which are contained in scriptures and in the teachings of the spiritual masters, the devotees in general, who refer to everyone, which are general, are not specific. They are not telling you do this. But these instructions say everybody should do this. This is prescribed duty, and everyone should do it until they will get to the point of having personalized instructions. Every devotee, every disciple should dream to have instruction from the spiritual master. Just like I dreamed that my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, told me what I had to do. Of course, everybody knows what a disciple of Srila Prabhupada should do, but I really wanted to hear it. You do this, and he told me. So I was very, very happy. And and I did it, or tried to do it for the entire my life. So when one performs prescribed duty only because it ought to be done, and not because he likes, again, I know that I repeat this concept basically every time, but it should be repeated. And renounce all material association. Association does not mean only physical association, but it means all ideas that maybe my life should be better in this way. This is material association. Maybe the scriptures or my spiritual master or the devotee, they tell me to do this, but maybe this is not right. You know, this is material association. It's mental material association. But a Buddha doesn't do that. What Buddha means intelligent. An intelligent person knows the philosophy and does what is right and rejects what is wrong. And he refuses all attachment to the fruit of his action. His renunciation is said to be in the mode of goodness. So this type of renunciation we should try to practice. So now we are going to study the 5 causes of action. You know, this class is going to be a little technical. You know, I try to be try to bear with me. 5 causes of action. This question comes to me very often. What is the causes of action? What if I get a result? If I get a karma, who gave me this karma? It's only me. It's just I am the only responsible for what I do. But here Krishna says in the chapter 18, the verse number 14, that you, all of us, are not the only responsible for our actions. Otherwise, we would be Supreme Personality of Godhead, that we can do anything we want, when we want, how we want. So we are only one of the 5 actors of our action. Here Krishna says the place of action the body, but not only the body, the circumstance that you live in, the performer, which is us, the senses, different kinds of endeavor, which means how the effect of the goodness and sattva, rajas, tamas, and ultimately the super soul, the supreme personality of God. These are the 5 factors of action. So that's why we always have the possibility, the chance to change our life, because we are responsible for what it comes to us, but we are also, we can share the reasons why we did something. We were not completely free because so many external circumstances have pushed us to act in a certain way. So this is the reason why because we are partially innocent. We are mainly guilty, but we are also partially innocent. And Krishna says, okay, then you are partially innocent, then I will give you a chance. Whatever right or wrong action a man performs by body, mind, or speech is caused by these 5 factors. And this is very important because this questions comes up very often. And I always try to explain because it's subtle. It's very subtle. It's very easy to understand. Okay, then I'm not guilty. So why I should pay for something I'm not guilty? You are guilty. You're not 100% guilty, but you are. Okay, ultimately, it's you that wanted to come to this material world. Once you come to this material world, then you have adverse circumstances that share the responsibility of what you do. Then in the verse number 18, we see that there are 3 constituents of action. And this is, I'm going to be very quick on this because it would take some time to explain it, which is knowledge, the object of knowledge, and the knower. This is the 3 factors that motivate action, which means the senses, the worker, and the doer are not going to stay on this concept, which is quite philosophically technical. Then we have 3 kinds of knowledge. The knowledge by one, the one who understands the difference between the body and the soul. This knowledge is called sattvika, or knowledge in the mode of goodness. I am not this body. I'm not a man. I'm not white. I'm not European. I'm not this or that. I am a spirit soul. When someone knows this concept, which is the A of the ABC of Krishna consciousness, then he has made a big step forward in transcendental knowledge. But the knowledge by one sees that they have a different body, there is a different type of living entity, you should understand to be in the mode of passion. What does it mean? Very briefly. While those who are in the mode of goodness see that fundamentally all living entities are qualitatively the same, those who have knowledge under the mode of rajas see the difference between the different type of souls, because they know, they perceive the difference that there is now in this moment. No? Those who are very advanced don't care if the soul is in the body of a dog, or a cat, or of white, or black, or whatever. No? They see that there is a spirit soul. While the others say, well, if the spirit soul is in this particular body, it's because it's less advanced than others. It's a different karma. It's heavier type of karma. and the knowledge by which one is attached to one kind of work, to be all in all, without knowledge of the truth, which is very meager. It's said to be the mode of darkness. All I have to do is to make money to maintain my family. I may be a spirit soul, but now I am a man or a woman, and then I have to work to maintain my family. And this is tamas, different tamoguna, or the knowledge under the influence of the darkness. Then we have, this is important. We are going to spend a couple of minutes here. These 3 types of performance, or 3 types of persons. No? This is important because we are one of these 3 types of performance. One who performs his duty without association with the modes of material nature, without false ego, with great determination and enthusiasm, and without wavering in success or failure, is said to be a worker in the mode of goodness. In other words, there are different types of action. If you are in that, the higher type of action is, of course, the pure devotional actions. No material interest and nothing, and that is completely transcendental. But then we have various degrees of purity. And when you go down from the transcendental plane and you arrive to the mixed material plane, which means a mix between spiritual and material qualities, then you should analyze your consciousness if you are doing your duty, how you are doing your duty. Do you want to still be associated with the material nature? Not good. Do you have false ego? What is false ego? False ego, I'm American, I am European, I'm white, I'm black, I'm rich, I'm poor. This is false ego. False ego means I, false I, who I am not. I am not this body. So this is false ego. With great determination, I have a service or I have duties and I'm going to do it. It doesn't matter what. This is good. This is sattva type of endeavor. And enthusiasm. One should do his duty with enthusiasm, not just, okay, you know, Gurudeva told me to do this, okay, I'm going to do it. But this is not good. Enthusiasm should be, I may not like it, but I'm going to do it with a great enthusiasm. Because enthusiasm is something that you can put in what you do. It's not something that comes from the sky. You can actually pump up yourself and say, yes, I'm going to do it. Okay, and this is good. And without wavering, success or failures. Maybe you try to do your best, and maybe your service doesn't come out good. You know, every one of us has experiences. I have a lot of experiences with failures, you know. And one should continue to do his duty. It doesn't matter if you are a success or a failure. Sometimes my classes can be interesting. Sometimes they're really boring. I know that. So, but I will continue. So I have continued 48 years. I'm going to continue until the last days, until you want to kill me. So, so I have some years more to, because that is the only way to shut me up, you know. And so this is how a devotee should work. A devotee should work. It doesn't matter if you do it good or if you do it bad. Of course, we are imperfect. Of course, you are going to do some mistake, you know. And it doesn't matter how much effort you put in what you do. Some mistakes are to be done. Just like in these days, I'm correcting the Mahabharata in English, which arrived. It's a 600 and more pages, so it was a huge enterprise. It's a correct enterprise, a huge effort done originally by me, and which I wrote it. I didn't translate it. I wrote it. I told the story, and then two devotees spent months correcting, and still mistakes are there. It's impossible that there is no mistake because human nature is made of mistakes. But the quality of the work does not depend from the perfection of the service. It depends from how he did it. With all the mistakes that one can do, I did a lot of mistakes. In the original Mahabharata, I wish I could write it again because I will write a completely different book. I did a lot of mistakes. And but that does not mean anything from the spiritual point of view. What it matters is the devotion, and there's no waver. It's not say, okay, no, I did a mistake, then I will not do it again because I am not good. This is not the way of doing devotional service. Because the work, why? Because the work you are attached to the fruits. One says, I worked for months, and now I want to be told that I did everything perfect. And if he tells me that I did one or two mistakes, then I'm going to feel bad. This is action under the mode of rajas, of passion, because somebody did it with attachment to the results. I want to hear that I was perfect. Because he wants to enjoy the fruit of action. I want to hear that I am appreciated for what I do. And this is a kind of greed. And then actually there is some envy behind this, envy. They said that maybe there is somebody who is better than me, so I envy this person. So I want to be perfect. I want to be the number one. This is a raja. This is a rajaguna. Rajaguna. A devotee think I did it in devotion, so it's perfect. Then three types of intelligence. I'm going to cover this type of intelligence briefly. So what is intelligence? Intelligence in Sanskrit is called buddhi. Buddhi means discrimination. Discrimination is this is good and this is bad. Okay? Mind is something different. Mind and intelligence are two different things. We have explained this principle many times. Mind is automatic. The senses touch something nice, and the mind registers this good experience. So next time the senses come close to something similarly nice, the mind said, yes, touch it again, because last time it was nice. The mind does not reason. Mind is automatic. I like it, I dislike it. That's all. This is what the mind does. The mind also thinks and feels and will, but it all depends from sensorial activities. So mind is called manasa, and the buddhi is another type of subtle body or subtle capacity. Buddhi is based on knowledge. Doesn't matter if the senses and the mind say this is nice, I want to know if this is right. Because maybe I like it, but it's not right. I like chocolate, but it's not good. For someone who is diabetic, chocolate is not good. So my mind says, yes, eat chocolate, but intelligence says, no, it is not good for you. So an intelligent person will not do it. And so how we make intelligence strong? By knowledge, by studies. We have to study. not read. There's a difference between reading and studying. Reading, you just read. Studying, you try to understand. Okay. Many devotees in the course of years ask me, so what if I read and I do not understand something? Should I stop until I understand what I'm reading? No, continue. Don't pretend that you understand, that you will understand everything you read. If you want to understand everything before going to the next page, you're going to stop there for the entirety of your life, because it is the austerity, let's call it this way, or the discipline or reading that will make you study. You finish the Bhagavad Gita, you have understood 1%, 2%, 50, whatever you have understood. I guarantee you, I promise you, next time you're going to read the Bhagavad Gita, you will see, oh, I didn't know that Bhagavad Gita was saying this. I didn't understand it the first time. And every time will be like a new book, because it's transcendental knowledge, dynamic, because you are a dynamic, you are more advanced. After some time, you go back to the Bhagavad Gita, you understand things that you have not understood before. So you continue. If you don't understand something, keep going. And one day, by going back, you will understand more. And so this is how intelligence is strengthened. Intelligence is by studies, by reading and studies. And also it's very important to, let's see how to say it in English, to prepare your intelligence in such a way you can understand it. I'm going to explain it. There is one verse in that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. He didn't write any books, just 8 prayers. They are called the Shikshastakam. Ashta in Sanskrit means 8. And Shiksha means instructions. So, Trinadapi Suniche na Tarorapi Saishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadaha. It says one word, which is humility. So what it means, humility? Why should I be humble? Why to do spiritual life I have to be humble? Well, just like if you want to learn physics and you go with an arrogant state of mind at university and you listen to the professor and you resist to the professor words, and you say, oh no, you don't know, I know better. You're not going to learn. If you want to learn, you have to open up your mind and let the words of those who know more than you enter. This is humility. This is humbleness. Open up your mind and let things enter. There is always time to go back and say, okay, no, I didn't like this, I didn't agree with it. But when you listen, you should open up your mind and let instruction enter into your mind and your intelligence. This is why it is very important for understanding to have a humble state of mind. Because otherwise, in one sense, you're wasting your time. Maybe wasting your time is a little too much. You're never, listening, you never waste your time. But in one sense, it could be said, because your time could have been better used. Because if your state of mind is not open, is not humble, then you will understand 1%, 2%, while you could have understood 50, 60, 90, or 100%. So it's very important not only to study, but also to prepare your mind and intelligence in such a way you can study in the good way. Also, for intelligence, for study, it's important to study from the right people, from the right books and right people. because if you listen to people, they evidently do not know really much, you know, then you become confused. It's very easy to write a completely empty copybook, okay? But it's very difficult to write in a copybook which is already, you know, all the things written and everything is a mess. So don't waste your time listening to people that do not guarantee you that they have knowledge on what. There are so many Bhagavad Gitas, so many so-called teachers of Bhagavad Gita. Don't wait. This is waste. I can use this word. This is a waste of time. Not only is a waste of time is good, but you are damaging. You're not just waste. You're damaging your capacities, your possibility, your chance of understanding, because you are putting wrong concept into your mind. So you should choose a book. We have the Bhagavad Gita of Srila Prabhupada. This is a perfect book. There is no better Bhagavad Gita. That's why Srila Prabhupada called this Bhagavad Gita as it is. As it is means I didn't touch it. It is what Krishna said. And I'm going to not to change the verse, because that verse, even if you did not understand what Krishna is saying, okay, I'm going to leave it as it is, and I'm going to give you a purport, an explanation after. This is the genius of Srila Prabhupada. A lot of commentators on the Bhagavad Gita, they have mixed the verses and their explanations. They try to explain the verses inside the verse, so nobody really knows what Krishna said and what the guy said. Okay, so this is a worst way of explaining it. While Srila Prabhupada did an unbelievable authorized work by putting the Sanskrit in Devanagari, so we can make sure that the transliteration in Roman letters is correct. And then there is the verse, the Sanskrit verse in Roman letters. And then you add the synonyms, word by word, and then there is the translation. Until the translation, this is what Krishna said, exactly what Krishna said. If you learn the Sanskrit, I did a little bit, you know, I can guarantee you there is no mistake. It is exactly what Krishna said. And then Srila Prabhupada said, you may not understand what Krishna said, so I'm going to explain it. And this is called purport, the Bhaktivedanta purport. So, and this is extremely, unbelievable well done. So, we have to be grateful to Srila Prabhupada to be so serious about giving us transcendental knowledge. So now, I'm going to speak, although now we have only 10 minutes, I have to jump to the final. So that happiness, there are three types of happiness. That happiness, which is poison in the beginning, and at the end is nectar, is sattvika. It's a goodness. The happiness which is derived from contact to the senses with objects and appear nectar of face, but poison at the end is said the nature of passion. You know, and you know, like being devotee sometimes is not very nice in one sense. You don't do this, you cannot do that, you know, you cannot eat meat, you cannot have sex, you cannot. So this type of happiness of life that you have doesn't look like a nice life, you know. But then if you follow this instruction, at the end you become very happy. But the other happiness, when you think, okay, you know, I'm going to be a devotee, but you know, I will do maybe, you know, I will do this, I will do that a little bit. I don't think Krishna get offended if I smoke a cigarette once in a while or nonsense like this, you know. So at the moment you enjoy, But then you'll see that the reactions are there. You're not going to be happy at the end. This is mystical. You cannot explain why. What's wrong in doing some little nonsense, you know? Krishna, I don't think Krishna is here watching on me what I eat or what I smoke or what I think, what I say, what I do. And then you'll see the reaction comes and you don't know how they came, because this is absolute truth. The reactions are there, although you may not know that the type of action will give you a reaction. So I conclude by saying that the perfection of Krishna consciousness is expressed in the verse number 66 of the Bhagavad Gita, where it is said, Sarva-dharman parityaja mamekam saranam vraja ahantam sarvapapebhyo mokshaishyami ma shucha. The perfection of Krishna consciousness is just follow the instruction of the scriptures and of the spiritual masters of our tradition, and just abandon everything in the material world, just surrender unto me, and you will see that your life will be perfect, your life, this life, and then you will go back to the spiritual world to enjoy an eternal blissful life. So this is 18th chapter. Next week we are going to I'm going to ask Krishna for some blessings to begin the Srimad Bhagavatam, and with these notes, there are two verses that I'm going to recite every time we begin our Srimad Bhagavatam class, which is Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Naranarayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. And then, Nashtapayeshvabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all the troubles unto the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, with praise, with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. So don't miss one class of Srimad Bhagavatam. You are going to enjoy a lot. And before closing, I want to say that please read the introduction of the Srimad Bhagavatam in this week. And because we are not going to go through, because everything said in the introduction, it is in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada does kind of resume of the entire Srimad Bhagavatam, and there are a lot of things that we are going to speak. Probably are going to be in the Srimad Bhagavatam whatever is left of our life, because it's huge. You know, I don't think we are never going to finish the Srimad Bhagavatam. The only way to finish Srimad Bhagavatam, nobody comes to the classes, then I stop. Otherwise, Srimad Bhagavatam will not stop. Srimad Bhagavatam has no way for us. It continues. So please never miss a class of Srimad Bhagavatam. Before going to questions, I want to say that I want to say that maybe I think my work on the Mahabharata in English will be finished in maybe 1 week. And the two devotees, Bhakta Andy and Bhakti Rosario, did a wonderful job. It was big. It's I'm really grateful to them. And I know that they did it under very difficult circumstances because they are not free, you know. My life is full as an egg, as in Italian we say that, you know, full as an egg, there is no space for anything else, but still I can move my things around. And they can't, they got a job, they have to be there. You know, they cannot say, no, I'm busy correcting Mahabharata, will come in 1 hour, they have to be there. So I'm I admire you both very much, and I'm grateful to both of you for this wonderful job that you did. And if I continue like this, I think in 2 or 3 weeks, depending from Amazon, they could be published, because Amazon takes time to publish things, you know, sometimes it takes weeks. So my correction should be ready in 1 or 2 weeks at the most. And what else? And of course, you know that I'm working on 2 Italian books at the same time, the Nandagram book and the Mahabharata 100,000 verses, monumental, mammoth work that I do, even if nobody will read it, because it's so huge. You know, only the Adiparva, which is one of the 18 chapters of, is almost as long as the Srimad Bhagavatam. So you can only imagine what it is. I'm going to do it just because I like it. And I hope that in the future generation, maybe someone will come and say, oh, this is nice. Because there are, I am writing in Italian, which does not exist, will be translated, hopefully. I don't know who is going to take this thing, because this is a lifetime job, you know. And in Spanish, there is nothing like that. Because why? And even in English, there is no Mahabharata, because there are explanations, you know, and explanation, there is no Mahabharata with explanations, because because it's too, who is going to buy 60 or 70 or 80 books? Nobody's going to buy them. Maybe a few. 80 books, there are hundreds of dollars to buy. And in the past, since there was no Amazon, which is God sent, that you can write, it doesn't matter how big a book, and it is on demand. Before, you had to print the books. So who had the money to print 80, 100 books? Nobody. So they had, they must to be very, very, very cryptic and try to put everything very small, written, etc. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be large. It's going to be very pleasing to read with all explanations. The text and my explanation will be very clearly divided. I'm not going to do the mistake that the Bhagavad Gita, the so-called Bhagavad Gita commentators did. There is the verses, and then very clearly where is my explanation. So that if someone does not like my explanation, just doesn't read it, you know, just go on, read the verse. But I guarantee you that someone like the Mahabharata, if you read no explanation, you have no idea what he's talking about. Because just consider, and both Bhatta Andy and Bhaktin Rosario know, that at the beginning, Srila Vyasadeva needed someone to write the Mahabharata, because it was, you know, to think and to write, it's a double work. So he said, no, I want to dictate it, and somebody has to write it. And then Ganesh came. Ganesh is a god, is a demigod. And said, okay, I will do it, but at one condition. You never stop dictating. I don't want to stop. I don't have time to waste. I'm just joking. You know? So, and Srila Vyasadeva thought, so how I'm going to dictate without stopping? Sometimes I have to stop to think, you know. And he said, okay, I will accept your condition, one condition. that you must understand what I dictate. If you don't understand, you stop to understand what I say, so I have time to think. So some part of the Mahabharata cannot be understood. If the Ganesh took time to understand it, the Ganesh is intelligent, like, we cannot compare for 1 second. We cannot compare our intelligence with that of Ganesh. There are some parts of the Mahabharata that cannot be understood. So we read it, and we hope that one day we develop the Ganesh intelligence. And of course, there is the other book in Italian. Why I'm writing in Italian, not directly in English? You know already. I told you, I said this thing many times, and I'm going to repeat it. So this is what I'm doing. Now we have some time for your questions. Bhaktayendi, Haribo.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to the Prabhupada.
Okay, Jai.
First, just thank you so much for taking us through the entire book. Yeah, I'm just very happy that we made it here and are able to move on and actually start another book. So I just really appreciate your time and sharing everything with us. So, as far as my question goes, I just want to ask, I guess, a very basic question, but why is it so difficult for us to see Krishna as a person? So rather than like a concept, and actually, as a concrete person that we can relate
to. Because our intelligence brings us to think of a person, of a human person like us. And we have been trained in thinking to God, to the Supreme Personality, somebody who is transcendental. So transcendental means very different from us. If we think to God, to Krishna as a person, then we think that we limit God, and God cannot be a person like us. So actually, this concept of being a person, a transcendental person, is one of the, it's one of the main topic of the Vedas or our scriptures, because it's not easy to explain it. Or it is easy to explain. You can just say, well, is a person, but it's not a person like us, it's a transcendental person. It's not difficult to understand, to say it, and it's not difficult to understand it. But then it's more difficult to put it in our mind, to try to imagine what a transcendental person should be. And this is one of the most difficult things that task, the difficult task for us, transcendentalists, Vaishnavas, devotees of the Lord, that we have, try to enter into transcendence and try to project in our mind what a transcendental world could be, because we have no experience of what the transcendental world is. We have, since the first day our birth, we saw material world. We see houses, or we see trees, we see everything dying, we see everything will get destroyed after some time. So if we say that the spiritual world is eternal, we just cannot understand it, because we have no experience of nothing, of anything eternal. Everything, all of us, we take birth and we die. And if I say, no, in the spiritual world, nobody takes birth and nobody dies, we say, okay, but okay, what does it mean? What does it actually mean? And you may not say that, but your mind tells you that continuously. What does actually mean it? What it means a person who is limitless. What means a person who is who can be anything he wants, or what it means. So, so nobody said that Krishna consciousness is easy. Nobody said that. Krishna consciousness is not easy because we are trying to enter into another world, and another world is another thing. And otherwise, it will not be another, different, very different. And according to the scripture, it's not just different. In many things, it's unique in the sense that we have no experience of things existing in the spiritual world here in this material world. So we have to first to accept, and then slowly but slowly enter into the transcendental realm, so we can understand and then realize the transcendental existence or transcendental truth. It's not going to take one day. It's not. It could be, but it doesn't. And but this is the greatest adventure we can have in life. The greatest adventure in life is not to become rich. It's not to become famous. It's not to become president of the US. The greatest adventure is eternity. The greatest adventure is to discover if eternity works. There is something more exciting than that. There is a more exciting life than that. No, there is nothing in this world that can even come near, because everything you can become a president of the United States, but he's going to die. Our President Biden is going to die. It's not doubt. So it was really worth to have 4 years of glory when you know already that it's going to finish. No, we want eternity. We are not going to settle for anything less than eternity, which is the best we can. And of course, a positive eternity, not just negative eternity. Martin Rosario.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. You have been especially explicit today. I'm so happy. And I have missed some points because I've been translating for my friend. Yes, so I have.
She doesn't understand English?
No, she doesn't, but she understands what you're saying because I'm explaining to her. She's very excited, very happy.
Okay. Ella habla español.
Sí.
Okay.
Sí. Yo quisiera que usted repitiera esta clase en español.
Bueno, el próximo sábado.
Sí, el sábado, qué bueno. Muchas gracias.
No sé si voy a repetir exactamente la misma cosa.
Pero muchas gracias, Guru Maharaj. Qué bueno, qué alegría. I have two questions. I missed the third kind of happiness. You mentioned the first one, the one that begins as poison, and then it becomes like nectar. The happiness, the one that begins with happiness, with contact with the senses, and then ends as poison. And the third one, I missed the third one.
It's poison in the beginning and the end.
Okay.
Which means that, there is some kind of happiness or pleasure. Happiness means pleasure.
Yes.
There is some kind of pleasure that we think that is pleasure, but it's not. We get so accustomed to things that we accept as pleasant, which are not. If I can joke a little bit, it's like eating American pizza. You eat American pizza, and you think that it's pizza. It's not pizza, it's a horrible thing, But you get used at the end, you think, okay, this is not bad. But if someone is Italian, then he understands that this is a terrible thing, because he had some experience of something better. So if someone is a devotee, a spiritualist, and he had some experience of spiritual pleasure, then he understands that the pleasure of dark things, I will make some example of what dark happiness is. Then he immediately understands that this is not pleasure, this is horrible, like eating meat or this kind of things, just smoking or sex life made for pleasure. This is a miserable thing, you know. But we think that it's good because we have no experience or anything better, so we think that it's good. Or going to disco. I never went in my life in a discotheque, and I never smoked in my life. I never drank alcohol in my life, so I don't really have the experience. But I know they must be really miserable. So I can only imagine this big place with this music going and people are, but this is miserable, you know. So this is a tamasa, happiness in darkness, and it takes a level of consciousness, a very low level of consciousness, to mistake these things as good, as pleasing. You know, by practicing Krishna consciousness, our taste becomes more refined, and then we understand that these things are not nice. You know, why? Because we become nobler, more noble, and then we don't enjoy things the inferior type of people, you know, between quote unquote, you know? And they enjoy because of our senses, our intelligence is refined. And when you do this, then you think to the Mahabharata, you think to the Ramayana, you think to the Pandava, and you think to Krishna, and you think to Radharani, and you think to Radhakunda, and then you immediately understand, immediately realize, oh, this is just another level of beauty, and you don't accept anything less than that. So so this is happiness under the mode of darkness. Cassandra, Martin Cassandra.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances.
Haribo.
I'm not sure if this connects to what you were just saying, but I've had this thought about exercising and how this material world is a place of suffering. And if we're choosing, and I'm going to use the example of exercising, if you choose to exercise, then you're choosing kind of what suffering you're wanting for your physical body. You know, you wanting to have that suffering of lifting those weights and running or whatever it is, or should we choose a suffering of just, you know, sitting down, gaining weight, and possibly getting a disease? So my question is, in this life, there is no happiness, but do we have the choice to choose how to suffer? Whether we, you know, if we suffer as a couch potato or we suffer in the gym is my question.
Right. Yes, understand. Well, part of you could say spiritual life is to take care of the temple, take care of our japa, take care of our kitchen, take care of our husband, take care of our child, take care of our body in general. Srila Prabhupada would take very nice care of his body. So going to the gym and exercise to be healthy, so that you can chant better, you can study better, you can be better in general. You can give an example of that the devotees, they are spiritualists, but spiritualism does not mean to chastise the body, does not mean to mistreat the body. We should treat it very well because it is a temple of Krishna. Don't forget, Krishna is present in our heart. So this is the temple, and we live inside Krishna's temple, which is our body. Just like when we go to the temple, and we clean it, and we keep it nice, and the atmosphere, we are gentle, and we don't scream, and we are not, and we are polite, just not to poison the atmosphere. Then the body should be taken very nice care. We should not think, oh, I'm a spiritualist, then this body can go to hell, who cares about it? I know the body. No, this is not our philosophy. So please continue to take nice care of your body. And actually, Srila Prabhupada wanted even his his lady devotees to be, maybe say, to be beautiful a little too much, but he liked their disciple to wear nice saris and put a tilak and be gentle and be because this is nature. This is in the spiritual world. You don't see ugliness. In the spiritual world, you don't see diseased people. You see that everybody is beautiful, everybody is taking care, everybody dresses nicely, everybody is takes it. Women, they put all these things in their faces. I don't know what they are, but they do. So if we, so this is very important. Please do not misunderstand that a devotee should mistreat the devotees.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you.
Okay. Pati Rosario.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. I want you to explain me a little bit about the fact that you mentioned that we are not completely responsible of our fate, let's say. Please.
Yes. Yes. This is a very subtle thing, and it's very easy to misunderstand it and to go on one extreme or to the other extreme. So we have to find a way to stay in the middle, so that to understand it in a very mature way. Originally, the desire for action, it comes from the soul. It's us. It's us that we want something. We want to enjoy material world, or we want to go back to Krishna, whatever. So the initial desire is ours. And so the action is being mainly moved by our desire. But it's not that we are free to have everything that we desire. An example, I want to be rich. This comes from your soul because you want to be rich. But then you don't become rich. Why? Because there are other factors of the result of your actions. You work and work and work, you never become rich. Why? Because there are other factors. Your karma, the supreme person that maybe does not want you to be materially successful. Maybe he wants you to understand that this material world is not the right place to be, etc., etc. So it's and the place. You can have all the desire to be rich, but if you are born in Nicaragua, very difficult to become rich in a poor place or some place forgotten by God in Africa, So why you take birth in one place and not in another place? And this is a very complicated elements that compose a final result. So your desire is one of the factors, but there are other factors that will allow you or not allow you to have the result. Maybe not in this lifetime. If you continue desiring to become rich, that's just an example. Maybe if you could decide maybe one life, you will be rich. And then you realize that it's useless because you're going to die. So you're going to leave everything that you decided for lives. Many lives decide this, and then it goes a few years. Years, the time runs. The time does not passes. The time is very fast. And you become old and die in 1 second. So it's really worth. So better you have the desire you should have the desire to liberate yourself from material nature, to go back to the spiritual world. But it's not going to be easy because there are other factors. There are other factors that are present or past or other things. That's why in Krishna consciousness it's very important, the effort. Once you understand that something is right, you do it. It doesn't matter if you like it or not. Unfortunately, we can see that not many devotees understand this principle. And they continue years after year after year, not doing what they are supposed to do or doing what they are not supposed to do. So there's a waste of time and energy.
Thank you very much, Guru Maharaj.
I think Cassandra.
Oh, sorry, I need to raise my hand down. I apologize. No
Okay.
question.
But Andy.
Hare Krishna.
Haribo.
Are prescribed duties able to be given by a Shiksha Guru?
It depends. It depends. It goes from it varies. Depends from your stage of life. Can be simply, even if you are not a devotee, you have a prescribed duties. If you are a karmi and you get married, you have to take care of your family. That's your prescribed duty. So let's say that you are not a devotee, you don't even know who Krishna is, etc. Will be a good family man and taking care of wife and children, etc., and give you some good result? Yes, yes. Because you are doing a duty. You think that one irresponsible man who gets married and does children and then disappears is not to get bad karma? Of course he will. He will get a terrible karma for that because he's an irresponsible person. So this is a level of a prescribed duty. As you become a devotee, then you receive instructions from devotees who can be even very neophyte devotees. And you understand that what is this neophyte devotee is telling you is right, and you begin doing it. This is another level of prescribed duty. And then you start receiving instructions for a more senior most devotee. And then you may understand that what you heard from a neophyte devotee wasn't so right, or maybe what a senior most devotee was telling you is it makes more sense, and then you're going to do it. Yes, in your prescribed duty. And then, just like Srila Rupa Goswami says, at the beginning there is a Shraddha. Shraddha often is translated as faith, but doesn't mean anything to me. It means the initial push for devotional service. And from Shraddha comes Sadhusanga. Sadhusanga means you are with devotees. Devotees will tell you things to do. And once you are a devotee, you have to look for the devotee, which is a spiritual master. And the spiritual master is, who is the spiritual master? One definition. One definition of the spiritual master, in your mind, what he says is right. Doesn't matter what others say, he is right. While if you take instructions from any other devotee, you may have some doubt in your mind. Maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong, maybe it's exaggerated, maybe I shouldn't do this. But the guru is the one you don't doubt. Once you accept him, not just because he had the title of guru, then you should do everything he says. Once you take initiation, until then, he's just a more advanced or more senior devotee, but it's not your guru. Again, someone who has a title guru is not your guru. Your guru is the one you choose to take initiation. Initiation is when you accept the guru. Until that point, you should take seriously what he says, but not in an absolute sense. And this is another level of a prescribed duty. And then there is the initiation. After the initiation, that is the best type of prescribed duty, because it comes from the representative of the parampara, and then you have to. That is the best type of prescribed duty. So the level of dharma is called in Sanskrit. Dharma is a very complex theme or topic, and we are going to take it again because it's not completed with this explanation I gave. And but this is an idea, and I think it's an acceptable idea of what a duty is.
Thank you.
Martin Rosalind.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Haribo.
My question is related to Cassandra's question, because we always refer to the false ego, but does the false ego, does that term imply that there is an ego that is not false? And how much we're trying to renounce the fruits of our action, but we have to have some kind of self-interest. How do we know how much self-interest to have, where to draw the line and say this is now false ego? Thank you.
Yes, very nice. Okay. So false ego means the ego, or the capacity of identify ourselves with somebody. This is a capacity of the soul. The soul has its capacity. Who am I? I am this one. This comes from the soul. The soul can speak, the soul can hear, the soul can feel, the soul loves, the soul hates, the soul does this. This is all energies of the soul, Shakti, or capacity of the soul. Amongst these many capacities, I use this word capacity because it's capable of doing that. I hope you like the word. Among these many capacities, the soul has this capacity to determine who am I. Okay. This capacity can be exercised in the wrong way, because we are not God, we are not Krishna. We can do mistake, and the wrong way, and then it's called false ego. And then I am a woman, I am a man, I am American, I am a European, I am black and white, like this. This is false ego. The capacity of the soul becomes how you say, distorted. It's okay in English?
Yes.
Distorted, it's
distorted.
Yes, it's not straight. It goes like, and it determines it wrongly. And this determination is the base of materialistic life. Because once you think I am a dog, then you are going to live as a dog. If you think I'm a woman, and then you are going to live as a woman. So everything depends from the ego, from your capacity. Because if you realize that you are a spirit soul, then you are going to live as a spirit soul the whole of your life. Doesn't matter if you have a spiritual body or a material body, but once you realize to be a spirit soul, you are not going to live as a materialistic man. You are going to live as a spiritualist, and this is what Krishna consciousness is all about. It's teaching people the philosophy, giving that of being spiritual soul, and then telling people how to realize this. And once someone has realized, then it will finally have his ego functioning the right way. So the second part of your questions is very important, because it gives me the opportunity to take one topic that we have been speaking forever, even in these classes, especially in these classes, because we studied the Bhagavad Gita. So what it means not to be attached to the fruit of action. This has to be understood also. First of all, let's suppose that we have mixed consciousness or spiritualism, being spiritualist and materialist, like us at the present moment. Okay, so we have some attachment. We do service, and we like when people buys my books. I like it. You know? Of course, I write my books so people buy it, because if they buy it, they read it. And I write it because I want them to read it. Otherwise, why I write it? You know? And somebody cooks and he wants to hear the devotee say, Haribo, Jai, Haribo. He likes it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So if you go to this cook and we say, no, you should not be attached to the fruit of your action, then he says, okay, then next time I'm going to burn everything down, you know? And he's mistaken, because our philosophy does not say that we should be detached from the results of action, but we should be detached from enjoying the fruits of our actions, okay? Of course, this is very difficult because we are persons. How is it possible not to enjoy a little bit? If I cook nicely and Krishna is happy and the devotees are happy, of course I'm happy. And if I cook not nicely and everything is bad and everything is too salty, and Krishna, I don't know if Krishna is happy, the devotees surely are not happy, because they are not going to take prasad on this Sunday, etc. I feel bad, you know. But at this point, we had to understand one point, which is very subtle. What Krishna, is Krishna going to be happy if your prasadam is cooked perfectly? He's going to be happy if cooked perfectly. But it's not going to be happy if cooked perfectly, but in your mind you are thinking, so the devotees will glorify me, because this cooking is without devotion. What Krishna wants from you is devotion. He doesn't need your food. He doesn't need your prasada, you know. He wants your devotion. On the other way, if you mistake, not because you wanted to mistake, or just because we are imperfect and we do mistakes, and the prasada today is not good, but you did it with devotion. While you are cooking, you are thinking of Krishna. You know, you didn't realize that you were doing everything wrong, but you love Krishna, then Krishna is happy. The devotees are not going to be happy. And so you are not going to be happy because you don't see a good result, but Krishna is happy. So at that point, you have to understand your happiness does not depend from you enjoying the results of your actions, but from Krishna being happy of your devotion inside your action. So it's very subtle. It's very, very subtle. And we have tons of scriptural stories depicting this story. I can tell you one story very quickly. There was there was a Raghunath Das Goswami at the time, who was a great saint, was living in Jagannath Puri at that time. So, and he was the son of a very rich man. So the father, at the end, much at the end, he had to accept the choice of his son, wanted to be a renunciant in Puri, but he was sending him money to maintain himself. And of course, he was using the money for the devotee. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't like that, because he saw some danger. It will not affect Raghunath Das Goswami's consciousness. But the thing in itself is not right. It's not right to depend on materialistic people. So, and then Raghunath Das Goswami just refused the money from his father, and then refused to take prasada from the temple, and then refused this, then refused that, and then this, and at the end, he ended up taking some prasadam from the garbage. That after the cows would finish eating whatever was left in the garbage, then he would take and eat that. So it was not a very good prasadam, of course, but then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and said, what do you have in your hand? And he was having this rotten rice, that even the cows didn't eat. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, let me see it. And he was hiding it between his back. And he said, I want to see it. So he took it by force and he ate it in one gulp. And he said, this is so nice. This is the best prasad I've ever had, So I can tell you stories and stories and stories about how much devotion is the main ingredient for prasadam, and not only for prasadam, also for anything we do. And but I want to repeat what I already said. This should not bring us to say, okay, that doesn't matter. I can cook, I can not be attentive when I cook. If I go in Sankirtan selling books, who cares if I sell books or not? If I give a class, who cares if I give a class or not? The important. This is the wrong extreme. There are all extremism are bad. It can be bad. We have to be right on track. And the track is try to do your best for Krishna and for the devotees. If Krishna is satisfied, and Krishna is satisfied too with your devotion, then doesn't matter if you are successful or failure, he's satisfied and you should be also satisfied.
Thank you. Very good distinction. Thank you.
Okay, so we are the last minutes of Bhagavad Gita course. Is there any other question? Otherwise, we close the book of the Bhagavad Gita, and I am not happy because we could stay at the Bhagavad Gita the entirety of our lives. There was one important devotee during the time of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was analphabet, he couldn't read. His guru told him, you should read the Bhagavad Gita every day. It's not big, it's 700 verses, so you can read the Bhagavad Gita every day, but he couldn't read. So he had some kind of book. I know at that time there was no books, there was leaves, trees, leaves. And there was some picture done manually by one devotee of Krishna and Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And every day he would turn the pages, not understanding what he was looking at. And he was crying. He had these tears coming down from his, because he knew the Bhagavad Gita. It's not that he couldn't read it, but he knew the Bhagavad Gita. He heard it many times. He just couldn't read it. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who knew that he couldn't read, he said, why are you, you don't understand what you are reading, why you are crying? He said, I don't understand anything what is written here, but I remember Krishna instructing Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and it's so moving, it's so beautiful. He gave us the best philosophy ever spoken in this material universe, and this is true. So we finished the Bhagavad Gita with a little sadness in our heart. But we begin the Srimad Bhagavatam, and so we are happy. Bhakta Andy?
Hare Krishna. I hope maybe one day we can just have a class of just stories and pastimes. I feel like that would maybe be wonderful. But my question was, when at the very end, when you were speaking about the mind versus intelligence, you had brought up preparing your mind and intelligence to stay or to study in the right way. And so my question was just, how do we prepare our mind and intelligence to study?
First of all, whether we realize it or not, whether we know this deeply or just superficially, we need to know that we are dealing with a divine knowledge coming from the spiritual world. It is not like mathematics or physics or chemistry or music or any other material science. It is divine, it is spiritual. So we have to be careful to treat it nicely. Just like when you take a book, wash your hands before taking a book. Maybe you can do Hare Krishna like this, respecting it. The books should never stay on the floor. You should read it with the intelligence of discriminating. This is transcendental, this is divine knowledge. Just like fire, it should be because fire is very useful. You can cook, you can do so many things, but you can also burn yourself. So if there are people who come to Krishna consciousness, unfortunately, we have them in our movement. They shouldn't be in our movement. There are people dressed as devotees, they shouldn't be, because they are damaging themselves and they are damaging others. So they are, you can burn yourself in being in contact and not respecting and doing offenses and being offensive. And it's, the devotees offending the movement, offending Krishna, offending the Guru, etc. So the but unfortunately we had those kind of people. So and then you should be humble. What means humble? Just listen. Don't think that you know better. You know, you are not forced. You are not obliged to accept blindly whatever you read. At least until you are not initiated, you are not obliged. Once you are initiated, that is a different thing. If you don't accept what Guru said, then this is offensive. Before taking initiation, it's not offensive. It's just bad for you. And you just listen. Don't control your mind and don't say this is wrong. Read it and think only. And then when you finish reading, you can think it over and you say, well, it's not, I don't agree very much. It doesn't seem these things, it doesn't seem sound, you know, these kind of things. But prepare your mind intelligent by being open, respectful, humble, and open, and you will see like transcendental knowledge will flow within your heart like the Yamuna River. You know, they're very nice. The Yamuna River, there's nothing that can stop it. Stop her. So transcendental knowledge from someone who opens the gates of his heart, there is nothing that can stop it continuously. If you keep open, then you will understand things today, things you never understood yesterday. And in 1 or 2 or 4 days, or 1 month or 1 year, you just some kind of bulb will turn on and say, Eureka, I didn't understand this 1 year ago, now I understand it. I didn't realize how beautiful this was, now I do understand, because it's dynamic. What you are hearing now, you understand in a percentage of this. If you listen, not necessarily to my class, but to Prabhupada classes or other classes, then if you listen again in time, you will say, wow, I didn't understand that at that time. This is the meaning of dynamic knowledge, dynamic study. Don't think that you are understanding everything today. It takes time. This is the experience of all of us after the entire life spent in Krishna consciousness. And we still continue to understand things that we didn't understand before. I guarantee you that. I promise you that. Today, I read things and wow, I didn't understand it before. This is eternally like this. And this is an experience the senior devotee, any senior devotee can tell you, this kind of experience of dynamism in transcendental knowledge.
I had one last follow-up then. Is that okay?
Yes.
Where you said that it's not offensive to not take what the guru says before initiation, but then it's offensive after. But my understanding is that it's someone taking initiation. I would think most likely is not accepting everything right away, and so is it just not really? Is it unavoidable for a new initiate to just have their guru but still not be taking everything, but at least like trying to take everything?
Very good, very good, very good. Well, these are principles. You know, principles do not apply to every situation, every person, every moment of life. These are general principles that that we should know. Like, for some mysterious reason, I immediately accepted what Srila Prabhupada said from the first day. And I tell you, I was an atheist. I was writing in a left party, very atheistic, very contrary to everything, even verbally violent type of thing. The first time I opened Srila Prabhupada books, I said yes. And I wasn't a disciple. I wasn't thinking to be a disciple of him. So, and I had the right to reject what he said, but I didn't. So, in a general sense, again, in a general sense, before initiation, you had the right. After initiation, you don't. But of course, you know, it's not that one ceremony changes your mind. You know, if tomorrow you take initiation, you know, you are going to be after tomorrow the same person that you are today. You know, it's not that there is some magic wand and then everything is perfect and you develop wings and that is going to be, but philosophy is not meant to be applied to everyone at every moment. It's something that is there, and you know it's there, and you look at it. I should be like this. One day I will arrive not to doubt everything. My spiritual master never happened to me. I don't know why. I never doubted my spiritual master, not 1 second in my life. But I know many of my God brothers, they did doubt it. Some lost their spiritual lives because they doubted what Srila Prabhupada said. So why one doubted and the other doubted, I don't know. It's just lucky or who knows what. But as a general, that is a general principle. So don't worry that you are obliged to be perfect the day, 5 minutes after your future initiation.
Thank you very much.
Actually, I think there are different conceptions of what initiation should be. Some see it as a gift. I give you initiation because you deserved it, because you have been so wonderful, your service has been so wonderful. And some other time, devotees say, why you initiate this person? You knew that he wasn't chanting. I initiated one devotee, knowing that he wasn't chanting 60 rounds, but I still initiated. And now he's chanting 60 rounds after 10 years of being initiated. Why? Because I thought that through initiation, it will chant, it will end up chanting 16 rounds. If I would have said, no, I don't initiate until you chant 16 rounds, you would never be initiated. And you never would have chanted the 16 rounds. So the Guru has this chance, has this, there is a word about this, a prerogative to choose how to initiate. Do I initiate a person who is 100% deservedly follow all the sacred principles? Yes, well, that's his prerogative. And some others say this person has the possibility one day to be, well, of course, I would never initiate somebody who eats meat or, you know, this kind of things. I take drugs, and I won't. But other minor offenses, like, you know, stupid things, you know. If he has I won't say what, things that are just stupid, are just part of being young, of being a human being. They will go away in time. If you wait to be gone away before taking, you'll never take initiation. If through taking initiation, it will go away. This is my humble opinion. Because when Srila Prabhupada said that, you know, as a disciple, of course, I was following regular principles, but I didn't understand what I was. You know, Srila Prabhupada initiated me in '74 out of causeless mercy. So I think that the spiritual master should be merciful, should give mercy. If he sees some, how you say, some possibility for this person that he wants to be a devotee, then the Guru should take this risk and give initiation. Others do not agree with me and do it differently. This is the beauty of diversity in Krishna consciousness. Okay, so Bhagavad Gita is over, Bhagavad Gita is down, and but we are going to continue studying it and discussing the Bhagavad Gita. Next, please let me have, I want to clarify something, but I think Cassandra sent me a very nice, how you call it, a leaflet. And there was the password. And I said, if you put the password in public, what's the use of having a password, you know? everyone sees it. And she said, I will take the password away. But don't forget to keep the waiting room, because in the Spanish classes we had porno movies coming in, and we had people yelling and screaming like witches, and we had all kinds of disturbances. Okay, and we don't want that. And so please, if you want, take away the password, but keep the neighbor room. If you really do not know a person, if you really see some strange name, like a Zoom 14 room, you know, if I would have seen a Zoom 14 room, I would never ever let it come in, because anyone can be there.
I'm so sorry. You know what? I'm using the Zoom from my job. I didn't realize that.
No problem. No problem. I'm just saying to them that there is some kind of X, in 94, etc. Don't let it in, you know, because there are young people just wasting time or wasting our time. Thank you very much. Next Thursday, first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Hari Krishna, Hari
Maharaj
Bol.
ki
Jai.